At the beginning of the movie, we see a teenage boy named Andrew cleaning his camera. Then his friend Steve arrives and invites him to capture them entering a hole resembling a cave. At the destination, his friend Matt, who is also going to explore the cave, is already there. Shortly after, they all enter the cave. Inside the cave, they find a strange glowing object that sometimes emits a buzzing sound, causing Andrew's camera to lose signal briefly. At that moment, Steve tries to touch the object, but suddenly he nosebleeds and faints. In the panic, Andrew's camera fails to capture any image. Only the sound of their panic is heard. The next day, Steve has recovered and can resume his activities as usual. However, strangely, Steve gains astonishing powers. It's not just Steve who gets them, but all three of them. They have telekinetic powers, like being able to control things with their minds. However, if they do it for too long or beyond their limits, they will have nosebleeds. They practice it gradually by moving objects around them, like puzzle pieces or Legos. During the day, they decided to visit the place where they got their telekinetic powers. However, the hole was already closed because there was a guard there who said the ground was prone to landslides, so the guard closed it. After walking all day, they went back to their respective homes. That night, Andrew practiced his telekinetic abilities by making his camera float. One morning, Matt also becomes more skilled with his ability to throw a stone and make it bounce on the water's surface. There, Andrew and Matt discussed their plans to improve their abilities. The next day, when they went to campus, they learned from the internet and tried it on a girl there. Little by little, they learned. Matt read on the internet that telekinesis is like a stretching power, similar to muscles in the body. If forced with excessive load, it could tear, just like when they have nosebleeds, indicating their weakness. At a supermarket, they wanted to use it to prank people there. First, they moved the shopping cart of a woman containing a doll. They started pranking a little kid. Finally, Matt tried to pull out the chewing gum from a teenage boy there. However, the boy was pushed instead, causing him to knock over a shelf, and the three of them ran away. Telekinesis can also be used to create shields. It was evident when Andrew stabbed Matt's hand with a fork, but the fork ended up bending instead. They used it in public, but strangely, the people around them didn't notice the strangeness. In this movie, unlike typical films where superpowers are used for good, they use them to prank others. Outside the parking area, Steve also pranked a woman by moving her car to another spot, leaving her confused and thinking her car was missing. However, because of that, Steve had a nosebleed from overexerting his powers. After that, they went by car on the road. Andrew tried to use his powers on the car behind them, which kept honking continuously. However, Andrew couldn't control his powers, causing the car to swerve out of the road barrier and plunge into the ravine. Andrew tried to lift the car, but Matt stopped him for fear of worsening the situation. Eventually, Steve plunged in to help the driver and pulled them out of the car. Matt called the police, but Andrew refused, causing a little debate. Eventually, the police came to the scene and determined it was a single accident caused by slipping. They both scolded Andrew, but Andrew felt innocent because he didn't mean it that way. Eventually, they made a rule not to use it on living beings and not to use it when angry or in public. The next day, Matt and Andrew received a message to go to a place where Steve said he was already there. However, when they arrived there, they didn't see Steve, only his car. Shortly after that, Matt's phone received a message to look up. Turns out, Steve can use his abilities to fly himself, making him float in the air. This made Matt want to try it, but he always failed until Andrew tried and succeeded immediately. After getting used to it, they flew through the clouds, even playing catch above the clouds. Suddenly, a plane came and hit them, but Andrew, who was still conscious, immediately tried to save them. Steve feels happy and thankful to Andrew for saving them from the tragedy. until Andrew got a nosebleed. One day, Andrew and Steve were chatting on top of a skyscraper. They planned to join the student talent show. Despite being shy, Andrew eventually agreed to participate with Steve. The next day, their campus held a talent show. There, Andrew and Steve also participated as performers. The audience was amazed by the show.
No way! You're gonna vlog on that?
What do you think? Oh, he's got it.
Oh my god, Andrew is so amazing!
Magic.
Amazing!
At Andrew's house, Andrew's father looked for him in his room but couldn't find him. Unexpectedly, Andrew's father found evidence that Andrew bought a camera for $500 while his mother needed money for medical treatment. An argument broke out between the father and son. Andrew then uttered foul language, resulting in his father hitting him. However, angered by this, Andrew retaliated by slamming his father. After that incident, Andrew was disturbed in his mind like a psychopath. That night, Steve looked for Andrew and found him above the clouds. The weather conditions there were very bad. Steve asked Andrew to come down immediately because it was dangerous to stay up there, but Andrew refused because he wanted to be alone. Suddenly, lightning struck Steve, causing him to fall and leading to his death, found in the middle of the field. All the students, including Steve's teacher, also attended Steve's funeral. Matt asked Andrew about the incident, but Andrew avoided giving an answer because his mind was in turmoil. One day, Andrew went to see a doctor for his mother's treatment. The doctor informed him that the down payment for the treatment was $750, but Andrew didn't have that much money. At home, when his father went to seek help for his mother's treatment, Andrew also planned the same. However, Andrew's actions turned criminal. He forcefully took from people, even robbed a store.
Come on!
The storekeeper had a rifle and tried to chase Andrew when he tried to escape. Unfortunately, Andrew, seeing this, threw the rifle, triggering an explosion that hit the gasoline pump, causing them to catch fire. Andrew was being treated at the hospital, and his father was also there looking at his condition. Instead of being sad, his father was angry because Andrew left and didn't take care of his mother, so she passed away. His father's anger was expressed there, and Andrew heard it.
It's your fault!
On the other hand, Matt, who was celebrating his younger sibling's birthday, suddenly had a nosebleed. He realized that something was happening to Andrew. So their abilities are indeed interconnected, which is why Matt could sense it. Matt arrived at the location after hearing the latest news that there was an explosion at the hospital where Andrew was being treated. Andrew emerged from the smoke and pushed his father from above, but Matt promptly saved him. This made Andrew even angrier, and Andrew began to lose control. He went berserk in public and injured many people. Even the police couldn't stop him. Matt tried to stop the rampage, but it was all in vain. A fight broke out between them until they were thrown down. Andrew started to weaken, but when the police arrived, suddenly Andrew unleashed his power, affecting the objects around him. Matt, unable to bear it any longer to bring Andrew back to his senses, finally moved the objects there to end Andrew's actions. After that, the police caught them, but Matt, who still had a little strength left, managed to escape by flying and leaving the scene. One day in the snowy mountains, Matt, carrying Andrew's camera, made a video apologizing and promising to be a better person. The movie ends.